Incremental greetings. Today, what I want to share is about some Google trends that I have been looking at. Related to space repetition, the tools like Supermemo, Anki, and so on. And I found at least two cases that, whoops, that was not what I was expecting. So let's go right into this. So first, Supermemo. What on earth? What happened that day? Oh yeah, that was in 2008. Oh yeah, it's the Wired article. This article. Want to remember everything you will ever learn? Surrender to this algorithm. This created the peak. Interestingly, it went more or less to a baseline, but interestingly, it's going downhill. In about 2016, from today, look at this. And now it's just 3. I could say the popularity of Supermemo, it's going lower and lower. Oh my god. Then, which country is more famous? Poland. Makes total sense because the app is in Polish and Supermemo, the language app, is targeted at Polish speakers, so makes total sense. Unrelated topics, yes, Anki, space repetition, incremental reading. Yep. I look at the rising. Supermemo Angielski. This is Polish, it's English in Polish language. Supermemo, and I think it's opinion, but again, in Polish language. So this already tells a lot that worldwide, the Polish language queries makes the rank in worldwide. Even if Polish is only spoken in that country. Nice. Then I had another link that I compare with Anki. In Anki, there's one spike. In 2016, December 2016. Now I cannot pinpoint the reason why was that. But what's interesting is look at this. At some point, obviously Supermemo had more Google hits because Anki is a software, by the way, didn't exist until 2000 and it was released in October 2006. So it makes sense that Supermemo was more known back then. But just very quickly, Anki took over Supermemo. And if you remember, this spike is the Wired article, surpassing Anki back then. But yeah, then after the 2009, Anki took over. And interestingly, it happens the opposite trend. Supermemo, we cannot even detect this because it's flat. It's in a flat now. It was decreasing, slowly decreasing. Anki is increasing every time there are more Google searches. There are highs and lows. And interestingly, in the lows are June and July every year. That's a pattern. And it's most of the countries equals to the school break. And when the school goes back again in August or September, depending on the country, you have the spike again. Then, in which country more Supermemo is more searched than Anki? There's only one. And it's, can you guess it? Poland. Even though with 56%, so it's like 50-50. It's not much, to be honest. Next. Now I'm comparing space repetition. That's interesting. You know Herman Ebbinghaus, the German psychologist, that discovered the forgetting curve and the spacing effect at some degree, but not space repetition, by the way. Usually it's misattributed to him. That's a topic for a different video. But look at what is interesting. This guy it's been more than a century. So obviously in 2004, there were Google searches about him, up and downs. But look at this, how interesting is this. In 2021, and more recently, in October 2023, they are overlapping with space repetition. Because it's very likely that if you read something about space repetition, they will mention Herman Ebbinghaus. Even though they are misattributing this, it's the forgetting curve. Also, something fascinating. Japan is number one for Herman Ebbinghaus, and if you look, the queries are in Japanese. They're rising. So what is more recent, it's even in Japanese language. What happened in Polish for Supermemo happens in Japanese for Herman Ebbinghaus. And this is the phonetic adaptation. Here it says Herman Ebbinghaus phonetically in Japanese. And the Ebbinghaus for the curve and permutations of that. Oh, even Korean. Cool. Then, something interesting is to compare Ebbinghaus with Piotr Wozniak, the researcher who actually created or discovered a space repetition. And look at this. By no means there's a comparison. So Ebbinghaus is a lot more famous. People Google Ebbinghaus a lot more than Piotr Wozniak. Even though both names are kind of hard to spell. So if I'm being honest with you, I don't even know how to write it down, how to spell it. So I do some Ebbinghaus, and Google will know, did you mean this? So what I did, let's see, is like this. Ebbinghaus, just one B, missing the G before the H, and so on. But it's enough. Yeah. Gotcha. This is what I meant, right? And Wozniak, because I'm already very familiar with this. I say this name a lot. But at the beginning is how you spell that, because for me it's foreign. And again, in which country, and only one country, Piotr Wozniak is more Googled than Ebbinghaus? In Poland. 74%. The only one. 74%. Ireland, Switzerland, but yeah, 4%, 10, 4 again, and 3. It's very close to nothing. Then, what is this? I forgot. Yeah, I also want to compare flashcard, the topic of flashcard. And it happens the same thing that I mentioned before. Look at that, July 2010. It's hard to aim at. July 2011, July 2012. So it's always the same thing. When most of the countries are in the school break, the Google searches about flashcards is dramatically lower. And when the school system starts again, it has a peak, the highest during that year. And it's repeating this each year, it's the same story. And more recently, it's kind of different. It's slightly more odd, but still, there are high and lows. Then this is quite sad. The interpretation of this is that a lot of people who Google flashcards is just for the sake of the school system, not for memorizing what they want to learn, what they want to remember. It's quite saddening. That is what I went through. I wanted to share. There are some others. So now what happens with flashcards? We have Anki, so the tools. Then I can also use Remnote, that now recently they have been software here. Woo. Let me check Remnote. Search term. Oh, wow. Okay, unexpected. Supermemo, the software. Okay, so everything is the software, so I will delete this. So those are 3 tools that use space repetition and flashcards quite significantly. It's the main sauce. Remnote is still a note-taking tool that some years later they added the flashcards. But yeah, it's enough that today they have put a lot of effort for flashcards. It's like the main theme, in conjunction with note-taking. Look at the difference. Let me take Anki out, because they are so close to each other. Oh, look at this. Let me change this to more recently. So Supermemo has been going downhill more in the recent years, and it's enough that Remnote has taken over in the Google hits. And whoops, I was not expecting this at all. Peru, South Africa, New Zealand, Philippines, and Colombia. So I could see here it's like 55, 51. It's kind of 50-50. There's no much difference. It's only Peru. I was expecting Poland. Why on earth Poland? It's Oh, sorry, I'm doing the other way around. My mistake. That's for Supermemo. Okay, okay. Yeah, Poland, China, Egypt, Pakistan, Netherlands, Spain. Okay, good, good, good. So then, that means that Remnote, it's a lot more popular than Supermemo in those countries. Well, I would say Peru. Because South Africa, New Zealand is into 50-50 still. Interesting. I would have never guessed that in my life. This thing was not prepared. Everything else was prepared, but I wasn't aware of this. That was is a discovery I did during the recording. Yeah. There's another one that I didn't include it. It's incremental reading. There's a topic and the search term. But look, it's almost close to nothing. Very little data. And if I go to the all time, a lot of time it's zero. There's nothing. There was a peak in 2000 at the end in December 2022. I cannot put this now the reason. I'm assuming the incremental reading add-on for Anki, something like that. But look, nothing conclusive. For very little, I think it's below 1. It's quite sad. Which, by the way, that was my purpose to record this video. To see it incremental reading against something else, but yeah. I could not compare against anything. It's way too niche. I hope this changes in the future. Yeah. Let me know your opinion, how you see what I have shown to you. For now, nothing more to add today, and see you incrementally.